Greetings, everyone. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a new episode of Random Encounters, the show where I take random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop role-playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and I put them together with input from the studio audience. The live chat room, and of course, whatever's going on in my crazy head to create prompts. Create pairings of a who and a what, a thing, a creature, and a situation, put them together, and then I use those as inspiration to do a cartoon, do a drawing while you watch for my entertainment and yours, hopefully. Hello, Michael J. Pastor. Hello, Chris Andrew. Welcome to tonight's episode. It's all for fun. It's the point of the show is that drawing is fun. This is a creative exercise that I use for myself when I need to just kind of jumpstart the old brain, or I'm just looking for something fun to do. It's a thing I've done with creative teams to try and get ideas going. It's a thing I've done with classes to help get students or young artists to think outside the box or to take on an assignment. Basically, it creates an assignment. The way you get, if you're working as a cartoonist or a creative person of any sort, you will have a client or a boss who will come to you with an assignment that you didn't know about. Probably you're familiar with the general ideas or you wouldn't have the job, and they say, here, do the thing. This is doing the thing fast. The whole idea, and I know I talk about this fairly often, but let's talk about it now. The whole idea is not to create something great and perfect and ready for publication on the occasional weeks. We do. I mean, every once in a while, something comes out and it's terrific. Pat myself on the back there. But usually it's a half thought through idea that we're working to just to get on paper and then move along. I would do three of these each night. Try to take about 25-30 minutes per drawing and just have some fun with it. I invite you, of course, to please join me. Grab your favorite drawing implement, some printer paper, or a notebook, or a sketch pad, whatever you got lying around, and just do some drawings. You don't have to draw the same things I'm drawing. In fact, you may want to interpret the prompts completely differently than I do, or you may want to do something else that isn't what I'm drawing. Go ahead, go for it. Have fun. The whole point of this is to have fun and draw. So, now, having rambled a bit there, I'm going to look at the chat room and see what's going on. Shocked to see Chris Perkins retired from D&D. Yes, Chris Perkins has retired. He wound up putting in more years on the game than... he might have more than anyone else, on staff. He certainly is up there in the pantheon of people who worked at the company officially on Dungeons and Dragons. He is one of the longest termed people, and he left of his own accord. He retired in March, sometime in March, about a month ago, and I wish him well. I was at his farewell party a few weeks back. That was a lot of fun. Certainly he will keep doing things, and it will be worthwhile to keep track of what he's doing. Chris Andrews talking about the fact that I had him on as an interview guest on my Wednesday show, 50 Years in the Dungeon. If you're watching this on YouTube, over on my channel, go look at the 50 Years in the Dungeon stream, and you'll find a very lively interview with Chris. Says the interview might have been one of the last. I think it might be one of the last public interviews he gave. It's certainly up there. Um, but he was always doing. He very well may have recorded some stuff in the office. They were always doing uh, snippets to be released later. I don't know that we have seen the last of Chris Perkins. In fact, we certainly haven't. But yeah, it's a good feeling to be able to have gotten him on my show while he was still a member of the team. Of course, I'd have him back any day. his having retired from the company doesn't change what he's carrying around in his head. That's where the magic is. Um, let's see. I'm just looking at the chats. Sure, you had a lot of here do this moments at TSR. Had a lot of here do this moments at every job I've worked at. I don't think anyone who's it doesn't even have to be a creative job. We've all in our jobs had moments where your supervisor or the boss or the client comes in and says, "Here, do this," and no creative job, no on-staff creative job, doesn't come with that. And sometimes they are. Sometimes they're challenging. Sometimes they're memories that create the stories of, oh, let me tell you what happened in this, kind of crap show. But sometimes they wind up with you wind up on a project you never expected to do, and it becomes one of the ones that you define your career by. I know that the Dragonlance Bestiary, that I did for Dragonlance Fifth Age was not originally supposed to be written by me. In fact, I was at first I wasn't involved with it at all, and then I was supposed to edit it, and then the whole collapse of TSR happened, and by the time we all gathered ourselves together in Seattle, I was told I was going to finish it, and I was given the pile of what was there, and the person that was supposed to do it had done a thorough job of researching the material you needed to do to write that book. What they didn't do was write the book. So then I shifted from editing the book to writing it, and writing it from word one. The person before me had done, as I said, done me a terrific favor. It gave me some great resource materials, but I did not have anything to go with as far as text to build on. So I wrote the book, and I loved it. I loved it. I didn't want to do it. I when told I was going to edit it, I was like, oh boy, I don't know. When it turns out I was going to write it, I was really like, are you sure? But it worked out great, and I'm so glad that happened. Anyway, having said all that, now I need to take a sip before I even start. I note that what I'm sipping is Diet Coke, Coke Zero, not sponsored. Also not sponsored by Apple, whose iPad Pro and Apple Pencil I'm using to do the drawing, or by Procreate, the app that I'm using to do the drawing on. No sponsors, no sponsorships there. But I tell you all of that just so you know. In fact, if there's anything that is sponsoring this show, it's, well, no, hit the wrong button. No, get out of there. If there's anything that's sponsoring this show, he said, and then hit the right button, it's my Patreon. I was talking with Owen K.C. Stevens last night after the show, and he gave me a little poke in the virtual rib, saying, you need to mention your Patreon more often, Stan, so that people know about it. You need to tell people that it's there, and you need to tell them that they should consider coming and joining it. That's the only way that you'll get them there. And I couldn't argue with that logic. So I'm going to bring it up more often. I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Stanex. And if you are a fan of what I do, and you want to get closer in the community of people who get to see behind the curtain what's going on, that's a good place to do it. It's also a good way to support me doing more of it, because the key, of course, in world of um, this world of yeah, it's a world of oh goodness gracious, this world where it demands, where money has to come in so I can pay for this palatial apartment you see behind me. I got to make money somehow. And the more that I have to go out and do that elsewhere, the less I have time to work on the projects that I really want to work on. I got a lot of things I'd like to be working on that I just don't have enough time for. I've made time for this show and the Wednesday night show. I make time for them because they're important to me, but they don't bring in any money. That's definitely my time. Um, I could do more. I could do a lot more. I don't know. I could afford to maybe buy a screen to put behind me. I could upgrade some of my equipment. I could do the shows more than once a week. I could do a lot of things if there was money involved. Um, I don't. I don't do these shows specifically for that purpose, so I don't promote it. But it seems silly not to. It seems silly not to say. If more people join my Patreon, if I get more backers, if I get more people in my community who are giving me a small amount of money, it's, like the NPR pledge drive. We're not coming to you. We just need a little bit from a lot of different people. If I can get a lot of different people involved, giving me a little bit of money, I hate even saying that. If I get a lot of people involved who want to pay for getting behind the scenes access and being part of my community, my close knit community, the people I know by name, the people I kind of interact with personally, then I could do more of the stuff that they like to see. I'm going to have to work on that. I need to work on having a better pitch for this. I worked well, so I've got a good intro to the show. I need to work on this so I have a better glib kind of, hey, here's the thing, and do the thing, and now let's back to the show. Speaking of the show, let's do it, because I've now killed 15 minutes just rambling about this stuff. I'm going to pull up on my iPad today's... Come on, where's the thing I'm looking for? Today's encounter tables. Michael J. Pastor says he worked the phones. I worked the phones at my local public radio station too. I love doing it. I love doing that. I did it for years. Recently, they've stopped getting people to come in to work the phones because it's all done online. They don't need to have everyone showing up in their offices and disrupting their workflow and whatnot for 2 weeks, which I actually find a shame because I really enjoyed volunteering in that way. I'll tell you another thing I did. We're still not starting the show. Another thing I did while I was doing that, I was drawing cartoons, not surprisingly. You will be shocked to hear that while answering the phones at NPR, I drew cartoons, and I posted them on the on the bulletin board in the office. And when I came in for my next shift, they had been moved over to the whiteboard and taped up there with a handwritten note next to them saying, "Who did these?" So I said, I did those. And I've got a few more in my notebook. And they loved them and asked me if I would be willing to draw them up in a way they could use for their newsletter. So I did. And then they asked me if it was okay with me if they shared it with other NPR, within the NPR network. There's no money in it for me. I consider that one of the ways I underwrote NPR Little was by doing some cartooning work for them, pro bono, and they took it and they shared it with the NPR network at the time, and I I found out that it made the rounds, and they were printed out and used at stations across the country. I found this out when cartoonist John Kovalik, who does Cartoon Dork Tower, which I'm sure hope you all know, I got a note from him saying his wife worked at NPR in Wisconsin, and he sent me an email, very excited that he went to pick her up from work and saw my cartoons there, and he got very, I know that guy, who did those cartoons, which of course made me go, John Kovalik was excited to see my cartoons. It was it was a little love fest. All right, enough of that. God, talking. Guess what that means? Gonna wave in front of the hand and go, that's enough talking. Let's do some drawing. So I'm going to come over and I'm going to go to the die roller, and we're going to roll these dice to see, get us a who and get us a what. So one is our first who, and 5 is our first what. So we'll come back and see that that means a Myconid short order cook. Okay. Myconids, for those who do not know or do not remember, are mushroom people. In Dungeons and Dragons, they are the mushroom people. Myconids. So Myconid short order cook. So here we go. I have a rough idea for a gag here. Let's see, we're going to need a little window for someone to be looking in from the other side. I probably want to flip this. I think because I want the waitress to be saying something first. So this is one of the things you need to think about when you're doing drawings, when you're doing any kind of cartoon or comic, is what order you want the characters are going to be speaking in, because everything happens left to right on the page. So if I want her to say something and him to respond, I could give her a word balloon and give him a word balloon, but this whole crossing thing makes it difficult. It's much better if we, let's see, what do I need to do? If I do this, I can flip it horizontally and move them to the side, so now she can talk and he can talk, and the balloons don't cross. But you can see that I need to redraw these. One of the funny things about drawing, or one of the challenging things, is you draw something and you think that it's perfectly balanced, but until you flip it around, you're not really sure. Very often you find that what you thought was a well balanced drawing becomes just freakishly proportioned when you flip it to the other side. That's what happened just here. Okay. This is a really weird angles for a kitchen, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a cartoon. Do you ever use the draw upside down technique? I sometimes do. Uh, I don't find drawing upside down is a real challenge. I'll use that as a challenge to myself. Um, but the reverse the paper, reverse the image, back and forth. I do a lot to make sure that I get it. You know what? Actually, in truth, I don't do it as much as I should. It would be much more helpful if I did that more frequently. I think that my stuff would be improved. There are times when I've finished a drawing for a client and sent it to them, and then they decided that they wanted to flip it, so they just do. And I look at it, and I can immediately see that I didn't flip it back and forth enough. It looks weird. It looks weird to me. There's something off about the balance and the proportioning because it had been flipped from the way I'd originally drawn it. Okay, let's do some inking. So we're going to go to the lines layer. And we're going to have our waitress here calling in an order. And I bet you can guess there's going to be some fungi in that order. We can, come on. If I do a line and just hold the pen still, it'll create a straight line. I know I say this a lot, but often when I talk to people about drawing, their response to me is, I can't draw. I can't even draw a straight line. I have to tell them, drawing a straight line is hard. Not nearly as hard as drawing a circle, but you know what? You use tools to do those things. There we go. And our Myconid short order cook here. Is shocked and appalled. I'm going to draw the whole thing. Again, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that this is digital. I'm going to draw the whole thing and then erase out the parts I don't need. Because, as a short order cook, he's for sure going to be wearing an apron. And get rid of that there. I see comments happening in the chat. I'll try and look up to see what there's going on in a second. I want to get this down first while I'm thinking about it. I've been looking forward to tonight's show. I had a weird day. It started off pretty good. Had a successful enough morning, and then I went and had lunch with a friend of mine. Well, with Wolfgang Bauer from Kobold Press, uh, who I had on also on my Wednesday show quite a while back. But he and I get together and have lunch once a month ish, and today was that day, and we had a very good time. And then on the way home, my car acted funny in a way that was worrying. And so I had to go and drop it off at the repair shop, and it is still there, and I still don't know what's wrong with it. So the whole afternoon kind of fell into from woo, that was a good lunch. I'm coming home with ideas to now I've got to go to the repair shop where I had to sit for an hour or so until I finally uh, was able. Well, I had to have a friend come and pick me up, uh, and that doesn't happen instantly. By the time I got home, my mind was worrying about the car, and I got nothing done for most of the rest of the afternoon. So this is my fun, and it's my turn my brain around, and I'm gonna hopefully get some work done after this is done. Okay. I'm looking up to see what's going on. Perry, hello, Perry Caldwell. Thank you for joining the chat. Let's turn off the sketch layers and see what we've got here. What do I need to touch up? Didn't put a bottom to that arm. And let's add some colors on there, and then we can find a good way to caption it. I think what we're certainly going to have is she's going to be calling out an order, and he's going to have something to say about it. Exactly what that is, I don't know. You guys want to start talking about that in chat? Please do. Give me some takes on how this conversation might go. But I'm going to switch to the gloaming brush, which is a crayon-y / marker-y effect, which lets me do this. And I'm going to go to the coloring layer. It lets me do this loose kind of coloring style. Like that. And then I'm going to use an off yellow, a tan, for the Myconid's basic color. kind of yellowish tan. It looks like an off-white, right? It looks like that kind of fungal white, fungal pale. These feel like mushroom colors to me. Use a little blue on the apron so it seems clean. Are you guys thinking about how that conversation is going to go? What our two characters are going to be saying? There we go. What else? What else? Maybe a little heat on the griddle. Alright, and then I think I'm going to give him a little shadow. Because I'm not putting anything on the floor. It just gives him a little... It keeps him from seeming like he's floating in space. I now don't have to put any details on the floor, and you definitely perceive that there's a floor there. Alright, what do I want to do here? I want to do a little bit of shading. To give them, again, if there's going to be a shadow, so there's got to be some little bit of cast light. We don't need a lot of it, just a little bit of hint that things are being affected by the light around them. He got it, so she should get it too. Again, not a lot, just a little. It's a darker version of the color that's already there on the side where the shadows would be forming, the side away from the light. Okay, that's looking good. What I'm about to come up and look. Let's see if you guys have anything, or if I'm just gonna have to make something up on my own. Um, Myconid's favorite part of Baldur's Gate 3. Of course, I wash my hands. I have good morels. Morels. Oh. Yee. Can't wait for this mushroom coffee trend to settle down. Person is crazy about all those mushroom based items on the menu, but they're growing on me. You know what? There's a lot of good jokes here that I'm feeling just aren't. You guys, if we'd had this pitch at the beginning, I could have done drawings that would have suited those very, very well. Um, uh, two more mushroom omelets. Yeah, I know. My God, they're cannibals. Yeah, something like that was what was in my head. Like, mushroom omelet or mushroom burger. It's like, um, they're cannibals. uh, so I think what I'm going to have here, I'm going to say table 7. Wants a double mushroom burger. And then we're going to pick up Michael's The Cannibals. And I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush so I can get that shocked emphasis. All right, and we're going to stick a stand down in the corner and call this good because I already wasted so much time at the front of the show that I'm going to make the executive decision to not worry too much about this. I am, however, going to realize that the tongue needs a little extra shading. There we go. Done. Inking. We have ourselves a Myconid short order cook. One more person orders a mushroom burger, I'm going to flip my lid. Good one. All right. Done. Let's not squander too much time here. Move on to another drawing. So I'll come and reset this. Go to round 2. Turn off round 1. Oh wow. So when I flipped that, I flipped the whole I flipped the whole thing. That's going to be interesting. Can I? Huh. It sounds like I'm exploring. I'm finding out things about the way my app works. Okay. So let's see what happens. Can I take just that and flip it? Yes, I can. Okay. So now they're all backwards, but if I, this is so weird. All right. So what happened? Just so you all know, is while I was drawing, I flipped the canvas to get the drawing in the position I wanted to be. But I flipped the whole canvas, meaning that the encounter tables got flipped. Even though they were invisible, they were still there. They got flipped too. And so when I came back and the cartoon read right, the encounter tables read backwards. So I went back and I grabbed just the layers that we'd done drawings on and flipped them back. And since I'd selected just them, it flipped just them. And so now everything is pointed the correct way. I had been unaware of that. All right, one more sip, and then we'll do this again and see what we learned this time around. We had a Myconid short order cook to start with. Let's go back to the dice and see what we get for our second drawing. I'm going to roll the dice and roll it and roll it and roll it, and we get a 5. And we're once again going to roll. Come on. Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, and a 6. 5 and a 6 is our next one. So that will be a ghoul Sherlock Holmes. Ghoul Sherlock Holmes. That's interesting. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But we're gonna do something with it. A ghoul, of course, is an undead creature that feasts on the flesh of the living. Um, it seems like there should be a pun in there somewhere. Michael. We'll give him a deerstalker cap. And of course, a magnifying glass, which has become synonymous with Sherlock Holmes. We can make a ghoul Watson behind him. But the question, I suppose, is what joke might be in this? Or maybe, I mean, we've got a space here for what, or I suppose down here, what Ghoul Holmes is looking at. Dr. Mortuary. I know that Dr. Mortuary was here, says Michael J. Pass. Dr. Mortuary is a funny uh, concept. Don't don't try to lie to me, Ghoul Moriarty. I can see right through you. I could shift that around. So if we get rid of Watson, I could switch. So we got our Deerstalker Ghoul Holmes here and a ghost. That's pretty funny. See right through you. I like both of these drawings, but I think I'm gonna go for what you said there, Chris. So I'm going to, uh, you know what? I'll save this sketch because I like it. I might find a use for that. But let's come here and we'll switch it around. We're gonna have it start with the Deerstalker hat. And he's going to be. I often talk about this, right? The key, one of the keys is to pay some attention to posture, right? I want to. So if we're going to do that, don't lie to me. We're going to need an accusorial uh, posture. So I've got my. We're going to have the one hand going forward like this and the other direct. By having that swing of the arms like that, it really gives it a feeling of threat. And then now, who should the ghost be? Should it be a Victorian woman? Should it be Moriarty? Right now, clearly, I'm drawing the woman, but or should it just be a like a almost Casper like genderless ghost? What do you think? I can start. I can work here on our Ghoul Holmes, and we can do the ghost afterwards. All right, that's looking pretty good there. Ghouls, of course, have raggedy zombie-like clothing, so. All right, good, good, good. I'm gonna start drawing here. Go up to my lines layer. Is that all good? Make sure that I didn't put things on the wrong layers. Okay. I'm going to come up to the lines layer, and we're going to start. I'm going to start drawing uh, the ghoul Sherlock Holmes. But I want you guys to give me some ideas for who the ghost is. Who should I be drawing that ghost as? The tongue is turning out to be harder than I thought. Finding a way to place it without running into the tooth. You thinking about the ghost? Who's the ghost? Is it... Right now, I've got that kind of generic Caspery ghost up there. I'm going to put a rough plaid pattern on the deer stalker. I've been thinking more and more about I'm trying to increase my speed and do these with less and less sketch underneath. Just because I'm trying to get ready for the second anniversary show, which is I'm also going to be celebrating our 100th episode by doing Michael Pastor's suggestion of attempting to do 100 characters in 100 minutes. But I certainly can't do that with sketching. Like, it's got to be a lot of just going straight from the idea to putting lines down, or at least very minimal sketching. Right, these are certainly. I'm moving pretty fast here, but we're taking half an hour for these drawings, and often there's just 2 or 3 characters in the drawings, which means I'm spending 10 or 15 minutes on a character. Not going to get 100 characters in 100 minutes at that speed. Okay. There we go. There's our ghoul Sherlock Holmes. I suppose I can put the plaid pattern on his cloak too. All right, I'm going to look up now and see what we got. What are we thinking about the ghost? Could be, yeah, Irene Adler is one possibility. Dr. Mortuary is back again. uh, all right, so it looks like we're liking the woman idea. So let me come back and do a quick sketch there. Back to Okay, so we got a little bustle on the back. Can put her hands on her hips like that. Put her in like a. She's looking more like a bar wench than Irene Adler, but that's all right. So here's the other thing I'm gonna do. One of the things I did so I talked about it last week. This game Necromancer that Cobalt Press is publishing that I did the art for. There were a bunch of ghouls and ghosts in it, and the ghosts I drew with a blue outline instead of a black outline to help make them seem ghostly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop the opacity on this sketch down. And I'm going to do this drawing in let's see how that blue looks. It's not quite right. It's still probably a little too dark. But let's not worry about it too much. What did I say at the beginning of this show? We're just trying to get things down quickly. Got to follow my own advice. I don't know. I was thinking about giving her those ghostly arms, but as long as you're doing the whole thing. It's still too strong a blue. Alright. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure these lines aren't touching. And that's going to allow me to change the color of the ghost's blue with just dropping it in and not affecting not affecting the ghoul. So let's see. Maybe something more like that. Yeah, that's more like what I'm looking for. Okay. So I am now going to do another thing where I alpha lock this layer. What does that mean, Stan, when you alpha lock? It means that now it only draws where I have drawn before. So I can just, what I'm doing is scribbling back and forth over the layer. I know you can't see it because you can't see my hand or the brush, but it's changing the color beneath it. All right, and I want to get rid of that. Great. Now we'll turn off the sketch layer entirely, and we'll do some coloring. Let's color this in. Let's go to the color layer, go to the gloaming brush, go to an unhealthy yellow, which is how I will usually color ghouls. I also like to go for a yellow eye rather than a clear white eye. We want green as the deerstalker color. Also his cloak. Much darker version for the inside. And then we can, I don't know, go with some other dingy colors for his clothing. And then for her, we're going to use some lighter blue versions of this same color. We're not going to color her the way we would other things. But we're going to put some hints of shading where light would fall if she was corporeal, which she's not. There we go. And we can once again do a little shadows on the ground to indicate that he's there and that she's floating. I know a ghost probably wouldn't cast too many shadows, but it helps really. She clearly was not touching the same ground, but without her bottom is not the same as the bottom of her ghostly form is not the same as his feet, but it was close enough that one might not notice. But by putting shadows there, it draws attention to it, and now it's clear that she's floating above the ground. All right, so what did we have for him saying? I can see right through you. Do not lie to me, madam. I can see right through you. Was that how that went? You may have fooled Dr. Watson, but I can see right through you. Is there a way we can work? Like you may have fooled my zombie companion, Dr. Watson, but I can see right through you. Um. Ooh. That's much too big a brush. That's much too small a brush. This one's just right. Now, if I was going to do this for finish, I would somehow have Dr. Watson lying on the ground there. But I'm not going to give up a third. If I were to do that tonight, I'd have to give up my third drawing, and I'm not giving up my third drawing. Yeah, no, I'm making this way too wordy. Um, 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 um. You cannot fool me. Now I'm trying to work Irene Adler back into it. uh, I kind of want to put an M at the end of Madam, but there isn't one. I know, or an E at the end of Madam. I can see right through you. Ooh, come on, get that right. No, that's not good. It's going too big. There we go. That'll do. You cannot fool me, madam. I can see right through you. We have Ghoul Sherlock Holmes. Done. This does feel like there would be a fun story to tell here. All right. All right. Let's clear that off. Good job, folks, by the way. There are a lot of good ideas there to work with. Okay, we've had our Ghoul Sherlock Holmes. We've had our Myconid short order cook. I am losing steam. I'm losing steam. Let's do it. Blah, 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 blah. We've had a Myconid short order cook. We've had a ghoul Sherlock Holmes. Let's go to the dice and get one more pairing and do one more drawing, shall we? Okay, here we go. We're going to roll the dice. Roll them, roll them, roll them. And 2. 2 is our next 2. And 4 is our next what? So that is a troll traffic cop. A troll traffic cop. So turn off there. We're going to go back to sketching blue and the studio brush. And we're going to do a troll. So trolls in D&D are tall, lanky creatures with big, they're kind of green and vegetative. Big honking noses, big ears, scraggly hair. Tell you the gag I'm thinking of is to have the troll traffic cop have a sign up that says stop, and someone going zipping through and knocking his leg off. And, he says something like, never mind, it'll grow back. Sadly, I'm terrible at drawing cars. And maybe it's lucky for you that'll grow back. All right, so as a sketch, that's a super quick sketch, but I think we'll maybe go with that. I was safer below the bridge, yeah. All right, that's enough sketching. Let's make some lines on this one. think I'm going to start with his hand, which is a weird place to start this. I would say start with the thing you're most confident in. I'm pretty confident in this hand. But it's not key to making this work. Oh well. We're there. I mean, the joke probably is somewhere in the, you know, lucky for you, that'll grow back. Otherwise, it'd be more than a $10 fine. There'd be more than that. In fact, I think that's got to be the gag here. I don't want to give him driving goggles. Give him driving gloves too. Like I said, I'm terrible, terrible at drawing cars. But I'll try. For you guys, I'll try. Again, I'm using the create straight lines at tool. Hmm. I just laughed because I looked up and I saw you're not supposed to see the light comment. Funny stuff. Okay, let's turn the sketch layer off. We've got. Oh, you know what? I didn't give him an arm. Let's turn the sketch layer back on. Just got a hand floating there in the middle of nothing. There. That's that's better. Okay, and we will go to the color layer now and come back to our gloaming brush. We need a blue suit for the traffic cop. Trolls are generally an unhealthy green. With their noses being a darker green, their nose and hair. We're going to give them yellow eyes. Oh, I missed the hat. Of course, the stop sign needs to be red. I think the car probably ought to be red too. Got someone driving around that unsafely. They're probably in a red car. If you've got a red car, Sally, I don't mean to cast aspersions. Driving gloves. Maybe orange for the our point of impact. There we go. You know, that may be the best quick car I've ever drawn. I must really be in a shadowy mood tonight. I don't usually bother with this. So all three drawings I have. Oh dear, this is just dumb. This is just dumb. I'm gonna look up and see if you guys have had any brilliant insights as to what we might say. I'm still leaning towards it's a good thing. It's a good thing that'll grow back. Otherwise, this would be more than a $10 citation. And I'm also thinking that because that's so wordy, I'm going to drop that in a text, a New Yorker style caption text. All right, we're going to make the size 25, I think, is the right size. We'll see. Let's type it out. And it's going to say, "You're lucky that's going to grow back." Or this would be more than a $30. Guess I want to write that out. I'm looking at how that looks. There are lots of rules for when to use numbers and when to write the number out, and it'll depend a lot on who you're writing it for and what the situation is. But in that case, I was looking at it, and that putting it in numerically just was not going to look right. I made the editorial decision right there. All right. We're going to grab all of those. I'm going to, oh no, undo that. I'm going to change the font to Times. I'm going to adjust it. You're lucky to go back, or this would be more. I'm going to. No. Oh. Come on, do it right. Stan. No. I'm trying to find a way to get emphasis on more, and I don't think maybe it's italic, bold italic. more than a $30 moving violation. Maybe we put okay. You're lucky this is going to grow back, or this would be more than a $30 moving violation. There we go. I think that's it. So we'll come back to our lines layer, and I will stick a little stand down here in the corner. Ooh, I'll change brushes first. And we have ourselves a troll traffic cop. Done. Should I drop the intensity? I'm looking on the screen as to how that looks in color. It looks different on my computer screen than it does on my iPad screen. What if I drop the opacity a little bit on these colors? Just drop them back a little bit. There we go. Done. That would be, or this would be? That would be. That'd be. Yeah, I think it can go either way, but you may be right. I think you're right that it probably will read better and be a little funnier if we make it that it be. I don't think that one is technically right or wrong. So much of comedy though is picking the one that works the jokes best, is funniest. Um, well, it's past tense, but it's not. It's happening right now. This situation, this yeah. Let's say it's not. I don't think that there. It's. I think you can make an argument for both. But I am saying I'm choosing your way. Okay. Okay. Let's have another little sip, and we'll get ready. Ooh. Got a traffic cop who's a troll. That was our third one. Troll, traffic cop. Our second one, right before that, was a ghoul, Sherlock Holmes. And we started the evening out with a Myconid short order cook. Those were our drawings. Those were our prompts this evening. Those were our drawings this evening. We had a good time. I did. I hope you did. I'm pretty sure my fine friends here in the chat room did. It's been a good evening. I started off rambling a bit about how my day had been a little shaky. I feel better having done an hour and plus of drawing. And like I said, that's what this is all about. Drawing has improved my mood. Hanging out with you fine folks has improved my mood. I'm going to wrap it up here. Move over to the screen. Thank you all for joining me. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you're enjoying this and you like the work I do and you would like me to do more of it, one way to help encourage that is to become a member over at my Patreon, patreon.com/Stanex. There are lots of different levels. Some of them are very low. None of them are very high. A couple of them are higher. But, there's also free. You can join as a free member. And I highly encourage you to do that. Speaking of joining as a free member, I'm going to do something else that I should do more often, and that is say that I really would like. Now, look, before I even say this, I know the people who are in the chat room right now, this doesn't apply to you. If you're not watching live, you're catching up here, this applies to you. Because chances are you are not a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And I'd like to put a little effort into raising the numbers of subscribers. Right now I'm around 400, 450. Anyway, I'm under 500. My goal is to get to 1,000. That's a big goal. Let's start with a goal of getting over 500, getting to 600. That's my first goal. Getting to 600. I'd love to do that, but I need 150 more people to click like. If you do, all that happens is you're told when I do videos, when I post videos. And if you look at my channel, if you're enjoying this stuff, you look, the only things I do are videos like this and my Wednesday night. There's not a lot else. And I don't think there's going to be a lot else of different kinds of things. So if you like this material, please, all that clicking subscribe is going to do is make sure that Facebook tells you, or make sure that YouTube tells you when there's more of it. So do me a favor. Do me a favor. Just click a like on this video. Click subscribe. And if you get a chance, after this is in replay, leave a comment. That will help show this program, show this video to more people. That's the reason for it. As I always say, yes, it makes me feel good to get feedback. Yes, it makes me good that people are giving me thumbs up. But that's not why I'm asking you to do that. I'm asking you to do that because it helps to grow the channel. It helps to tell YouTube, show this to other people who like the same kind of things you like. So please, please, please do that for me. Thank you. Now I'm going to go have myself a little dinner and try and shake off today, maybe get a little work done, and get ready for what's going to be a weekend of more work. Going to be some work. So thankfully, I like what I do. So I hope you're having a good weekend. I hope things are going well for you, and I hope that I will see you here again next Thursday for another episode of Random Encounters. Until then, take care.